What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Patriot Specialized. Made it to the port. Got through DC. Had to fight a little bit with Baltimore traffic this morning. Just a little bit, though. I stayed in Jessup last night. And Jessup is only about 20 minutes from here. Something on the lens. Jessup's only about 20 minutes from here. So we stayed there last night. Got this thing put on. This is our baby right here. Case 245. It's coming in at 10 foot 4 inches wide. They say 10.5 tall. We are completely legal on the trailer. No worries there. We got 4 axles down because of Pennsylvania. The routing on this one was tricky, and we're going to talk about that here in a minute. But the routing on this one, I ended up having to reorder the permits because it was just crazy what they had me do. For securement on this thing, I did the normal. 2 binders off the tracks, pulling out, and then chains coming in. We get two chains worth of credit. Did 2 chains up front. Basically get 1 chain credit up there because of the way it's, I X'd them off because it's got the blade, the dozer blade. So I hooked on the blade, came up over, put some padding in, some paint protection there. So we get 1 full credit chain, because those don't go all the way across. We get 1 full credit there, and then 2 back here, the way we have this set up. So there's 3 chains, and then we had to put, obviously, you have to have something over the arm, DOT regulation. So I threw a strap up over, put edge protection in for the strap right there so we don't hurt the paint or the strap. Also, what I did with this strap, just in case, because the way this thing is sitting in here, to keep it from hitting my trailer, I had to run the bucket arms down and set them down. And those could, as we move down the road, those could fluctuate back and forth. So there is a small chance that this strap could loosen up. So what I did to make sure, because of the way it's hooked here, I just took a bungee and wrapped around this thing. So if this strap does come loose, that hook can't fall out of there and disappear on me down the road and possibly hit a car or something. So I did the same thing on the other side with the other part of the strap. I bungeed around that thing too, make sure it didn't go anywhere. But we're weighing in at 61,000 pounds. Not 100% sure about placement. I didn't run it as far back as I normally do. I left it forward a little bit. We're gonna see how it works out on the drive axles, but I think we'll be all right. Right now, we need to get out of here. We're gonna try to make delivery on this thing today. They close at 4:30. It's gonna be right about 4 o'clock if I don't run into any traffic, which is I'm going to in Baltimore. So it's gonna be right around 4 o'clock when we get there. We will see what happens here. Let's get it done. Well, despite my best effort, we didn't make it. We did not make it to delivery today. They stopped receiving at 4:30, and as soon as I got out of the port there, right after what you just saw, I ended up hitting some traffic. Imagine that, in Baltimore on 695. That cost me half hour or so, and then the way I was routed across Route 68 in Maryland there. And anybody that's been on Route 68, you guys, anybody who's watched any of my videos, any of earlier videos, when I was running across 68 quite a bit coming out of Baltimore, that road is that road is something else. I'm pretty sure every mountain in Maryland, if you can even call them mountains, every very large hill in Maryland is on Route 68. I call it the 90-30 road because you're doing 90 down the hills and 30 up. It was, anyways, getting across that 100-mile stretch, that cost me another about 45 minutes or so. So that did not help the situation. I ended up not being able to. I called these guys, and I was hoping that maybe their service department might have somebody there working on something that could just sign the bills, whatever. But wasn't the case tonight. You know, that was kind of a long shot anyways, and I don't like asking people to do that. But if they happen to be doing it, then I'm certainly going to take advantage of it. Whatever, it's going to work out, I think, in the end. I am currently about 10 miles from Route 270. That's the beltway going around Columbus. Dublin, Ohio is on the northwest corner of Columbus, right off the beltway. You get on Route 33 off the beltway, and it's only a few miles before you run into the exit we need to get on for this delivery. So I'm about 10 miles away from 270 right now on the east side of Columbus, and in the morning I'm going to, here's the catch. Columbus has a curfew from 7 to 9. 7 to 9 in the morning and 4:30 to 6:30, I believe, in the afternoon. So we are currently sitting about 47 minutes away. That is routed, so that accurate 47 minutes. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bust out of here. Daylight happens at like 5:30 in the morning now. So Ohio gives you a half hour before. So technically, I could probably leave here at like 5 o'clock in the morning if I really wanted to. I don't need to do that because I could sneak out at 6 o'clock, and barring any traffic issues, which I wouldn't anticipate any on the Beltway that early in the morning, I'll still be able to get to delivery before the curfew. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to leave here and sneak in before the curfew. I'll get around and get delivered. So that is basically using these curfews to my advantage and using this daylight to my advantage to get this done. So that'll put me there about 6:45. They said they got people to get there 6:45, 7 o'clock, open up the gate. They don't technically open until 7:30, but they got the gate open. That'll give me a chance to get my trailer dropped, take everything off, take the equipment off to get the thing off the trailer, really. And then whenever they get there at 7:30, or if somebody else wants to sign for it, maybe with any luck, I'll be out of there pretty early tomorrow morning. The plan is tomorrow morning we're gonna get this thing delivered, and I'm gonna bounce up to the shop and switch everything that I have to switch out of Ghost back into Beast. And, and Friday we'll be back in Beast running the excavator out of Butler, Indiana, back to Canton, Ohio. So that is the plan right now. Now, I mentioned earlier on the video that we would talk about the routing, and the routing on this thing, originally, the dimensions were wrong. The dimensions that we got were 11.4 wide, 11.6 tall, 33 foot long. The 33 might be accurate with the arm extended out, maybe, but that really doesn't make any difference. It was the 11.4 wide and the 11 foot something tall that they had said it was. We originally ordered the permits. I didn't look. My permit girl didn't know any better. She doesn't know these models like we do when you're out here running them every day and putting them on a trailer. She doesn't know that. So she didn't know. And I, at the time when I booked the load and I talked to her, I really didn't have time to look at it. I was driving and I didn't have time to look at it and see what the dimensions were. And we just, it was one of them things that should have been talked about, and my fault did not get talked about when her and I were discussing the permits. We did talk about weights. But I had a load on it was very similar weight, so that I just said just run it the same way we just ran this one, which made it very simple. But the problem was with that 11.4 wide, there was a restriction in West Virginia on 70 in West Virginia. Not 100% sure why. I didn't run across anything today that I couldn't have fit through. That would have been any more of a struggle to fit through than what I already I don't know. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know what that 11.4 restriction or that 11 foot restriction was. But luckily enough, when I saw the routing was absolutely nuts. They had me coming across 68, getting onto. They got some construction going on in the junction of 68 and 79, and they had me get on to a couple side roads, a back road, and then get on to 79 North. And on 79 North, there is somebody walking up to my truck right now. That was a guy that I passed out on the road. That he's got a buddy that has the same truck as Ghost. So, so anyways, this routing, they had me routed. They had me coming out of, because of that 11 foot 4 inch width. They had me coming out 68, taking a couple side roads, going
ended up on 79, taking 79 south to 50, and taking 50 all the way over to 77, 77 south, down into Charleston, West Virginia, catch 64, take 64 west to 35, and come up into Columbus on 35. Now, this was, I ran the routing on it and ran the miles on it. And it was about a 3-hour difference. It was about 2 hours, 45 minutes, 3-hour difference between running across 70. So when I called Michelle, we were talking about the price. I said, "Did you see the routing on that thing?" She was like, "I didn't even look." And I'm like, "Oh, it's terrible. It's absolutely ridiculous. What is the problem?" She said, "In West Virginia, there's an 11-foot restriction." And I'm like, "Well, it's not going to be 11 foot. So we looked up the specs, and it turns out it's 10'4". The spec said 10.5, and it measures out at 10'4". So when we permitted 10.5, that we reordered those permits for 10.5 to get us straight across 70, and that made a huge difference, huge time frame. Even with that, we still didn't make delivery today. I really thought that was going to be the difference, but had we not done that, I'm 45 minutes away now. I would be 4 hours away had we not revised those permits. So that worked out really good. This is something that it's just you really got to watch. Make sure your dimensions are as accurate as they can be. Make sure you pay attention to your permit for the way it's routed. This is thing that these permit departments, I don't know how the process works. I have no idea. Never been to a permit department. I've never seen the process. I would love to do that someday. I would absolutely love to just hang out at a permit office for us and see where they come up with these routes that they come up with, because it really seems like to us, there's so many times where we get routed off a good route onto a crap route, and it just seems like, man, it's like they looked at this permit and said, "Man, that's too easy. We need to send them into some crazy stuff." I'm sure that's not the case, but I would very much love to sit there for a day and or half a day or whatever, and see how they come up with the routes that they come up with, because it doesn't seem like when it doesn't make sense, it really doesn't make sense. But that's something I wanted to talk about right now. Hopefully tomorrow morning we're gonna bust out of here early, 6 o'clock, 5:45, something like that. We're gonna bust out of here, get around 270 before the curfew, get this thing off the trailer. Hopefully 7:30 will be empty, and we'll be headed up to the shop to switch all our stuff into Beast. So that's what I got for today. We're gonna put her to bed tonight, and we will pick this thing up here in a second when we're headed to delivery for tomorrow morning. Talk to you then. All right, made it to delivery. It is 6:48. Got around Columbus. Made it to our delivery. Gate was open. Woohoo! So we are going to get this trailer dropped, get this thing kicked off. He said I could go ahead and unload. He said we can go ahead and unload right where we're at, and then when people get here, we can get the bill signed and all that gibberish. So let's do it.
at. Time for it to come off the trailer. Suspension must have dropped down. Neck is pretty close to the ground, so I have to fire it back up, lift up a little bit, I think. That should do it. Grab our bills, see what time it is. See how fast we did that. 7:16. Pretty quick. Let's go get these bills, son.